Welcome back to Dead Good Book Reviews. I'm Judith and you're watching another What I'm Reading Right Now video here on the channel. Today we are going to be talking about what I have been reading, what I'm currently reading, and what I'm going to be reading next. It's been a relatively busy week since last time we spoke. I was away this weekend. We were in Cambridge. I spent the majority of the weekend looking like this. It was a lovely time. I did manage to finish 4 things since last time we spoke, so let's start by talking about those. First up, I finished The Drowned Country by Laini Taylor. This is the sequel to Silver in the Wood. It is a folklore gay story that's just wonderful. I highly recommend checking out these novellas if you haven't already. Upcoming overbooked video on those, so I won't dwell on it too much here, but suffice to say, I absolutely love these novellas and they just grow more on me every time. Is that what I want to say there? It's appropriate, it's a foresty story. Everything else that I have read has been Laini Taylor, because I'm preparing for that section of Overbooked. So first I finished Days of Blood and Starlight and Dreams of Gods and Monsters. This was finishing off this trilogy that I started with Daughter of Smoke and Bone. Again, overbooked video coming very soon, even sooner if you're a patron. I had a really good time reading these. I think the big takeaway for me on a reread, without talking about the series as a whole, was that I found that I didn't have a very good memory of where the plot beats came, and there was quite a lot of the books where I felt like something was immediately about to happen that didn't happen until the very end of the story. So that was interesting. I'd also completely forgotten one major plot element of the 3rd book, so that was exciting for me as well. And from that I went straight into Strange the Dreamer. This is Laini Taylor's duology. It is I would say in universe with Daughter of Smoke and Bone. It is not a direct sequel or connected to them directly in any way. I really like this book. It's deeply tragic. It's really beautifully written. Again, overbooked video will be coming up. But suffice to say, the same thing happened again. I thought a thing happened at about the halfway point of the book that happened maybe 3 pages from the end, so apparently my ability to retain information about the pacing of stories has not improved since the first time I read these. That's everything I finished. Sticking with Laini Taylor, I am about 104 pages into Muse of Nightmares, the sequel to Strange the Dreamer. I've only ever actually read this once, so I'm really excited to be back into it. I don't really remember anything that happened. The theme of this video, but I am having the best time reading this again. It is still in the very tragic zone, but I'm powering through and I vaguely remember how it ends, so I think it'll be a good time anyway. I'm still reading The Battle Drum by Sarah Ella Reefy. This I am 30% or so of the way through, and the only reason that's taking a lot of time is because I have to read it on my phone, and I've not really been wanting to screen read recently. I think it's something to do with the sunshine, but I'm going to prioritise getting that done probably once Muse of Nightmares is finished. I think I want to power through so all of the overbooked reading is done and then get into some other things. Speaking of overbooked reading, I have started a new audiobook. It is an audiobook reread of Children of Ruin by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I'm rereading this for an upcoming video on that whole trilogy smushed together because I did make a video for Children of Memory, and I know Children of Time incredibly well. Children of Ruin was a little bit wishy-washy in my brain, so I'm really excited to be reading that. I'm 25% of the way through that-ish, and powering through it as much as I am on dog walks and walking places and going to things that require audiobooks. I've started a new sewing project that I think will eat into some audiobook time, so I'm hoping to prioritise a lot of audio reading in the coming weeks as I work on that. If I get all of that done this week, I will be starting Gods of the Weirdwood by R.J. Barker. I feel like I've talked about this every single week for the past 3 weeks. I just haven't picked it up yet. I want to sit down and kind of read it in as much of one go as I can, so I might save this up for the weekend. If not, next week is actually my off week. If you're new here, I take every 4th week essentially as a bit of a rest week, a catch-up week, and I will definitely be using it to catch up on some reading, I think. You'll notice I've been pending a lot of my own TBR bits and bobs, so that's kind of what next week looks like for me. So if I don't finish anything from this week, it's pushed into there. I also have The Blood Trials, Mastiff and Bloodhound. Want to get reading those, and the only other thing that I don't think I've mentioned up until this point is my review copy of Mortal Follies. This just sounded like a good kind of light-ish read that I think will be good for a rest week. Is it a rest week if I'm still trying to read 5 to 6 books? Apparently. I have not added any new books to my TBR this week. Not even a library book, nothing. I was reading some like silly short story stuff on Scribd that's probably not worth mentioning here, but I don't count any of that as being added to my TBR. I've also got a lot of things lined up that I really want to read that I don't know when I'm going to have the time to do it, so just know that I'm excited for reading at the moment. 3 things show up on my, as always, probably slightly incorrect new releases spreadsheet. A Crown of Ivy and Glass by Claire Legrand, who also wrote the Furyborn books? That rings a vague bell. I didn't love Furyborn enough to be rushing out to buy a new Claire Legrand book. I was kind of hopeful I would get a review copy. It didn't happen for me, but if you're interested in reading that, that's out now. I think The Water Outlaws by S.L. Huang is also out, which I'm really excited to read. I loved Burning Roses. I have a review up for that from ages and ages ago, and I definitely want to read this. It might be, hopefully, an audiobook I can get my hands on. And then finally, a book that it feels like I read months ago, Scarlet by Genevieve Cogman, is also out. This is a reimagining of the Scarlet Pimpernel story, but in a world where French aristocrats are also vampires. I had thoughts on this. I'll try and find the video where I read it so I can link it, because I don't think I have enough that I want to make a full review, but if you're interested in my thoughts on whether that's silly or sensible, you can go check that out. Probably up over here. As I say, I've started a new sewing project. I am making a costume for a LARP that's happening later this year. So I'll try and put the image up, this corset at the moment, and I'm having a good time with it, but I am very much in a very repetitive prep stage that just is going to take me a long time to get through, and I need to be okay with that. Thankfully, tonight, not tonight at the time you're watching this, but tonight for me now, is my Patreon live stream, so I'm going to sit and I'm going to work on that while we have a little bit of a natter, so I'm excited for that. So yes, no weekly reading video next week unless I get absolutely super duper keen, but I am hoping to get a bit more of a backlog of videos filmed today and next week, so stay tuned for that if you're interested. What have you been reading? What have you been up to? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're down there commenting, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. It makes me feel loved and appreciated. You can also follow me on social media. Come hang out on Discord where we have chill chats about books. I'd like to say an enormous thank you to all of the ghosts who haunt me over on Patreon. They support the channel and in return get early access to videos, bonus content, live streams and more. If you'd like to join their number, that's linked below as well. Thank you so much for watching. That's all from me, and I will see you in the next one. It's gonna be some bloopers now. Someone honking. Just gonna let myself know that I've mentioned all these things. I did my best to talk slower in this one because the comments were getting to me about talking too fast, but that felt weird. I don't know how I felt about that. We'll see. This is my natural speaking pace. I want to talk this fast, but I've been trying not to talk that fast. But this is how fast I naturally speak. I can't help it.